Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are hopping into our Terran versus Zerg for the day. We're going to be starting down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. Top of the red Terran player. Give it up for the one, the only, Drunkenboi. I'm actually not even going to say that he represents Flipside Tactics, even though Aligulac says he does. Because I think he just technically hasn't left the team. Spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the blue Zerg player representing Imperative Gaming. Give it up for Graphix. And yeah, he is definitely still on Imperative Game. And look at that cool logo. Got like a kraken and everything. But okay. Got a hatch gas pool coming out from Graphix. No early pool once again. But Drunkenboi, oh man, he is the one that I'm expecting to do something a little bit funky. He may still go for just the 1-Rax expansion. Reaper expand, nothing crazy yet. But Drunkenboi has a reputation for those who, again, are not familiar with this guy. He is one of my favorite players to cast because he's always just a delight. He always busts out something a little bit different. He always busts out something unexpected and always surprises you a little bit. Very, very fun player to watch. I know that a lot of people don't like playing against him for that exact same reason, though. Back in the days of Heart of the Swarm and Wings of Liberty, there was something known as the Drunkenboi build in Protoss vs. Terran. He was one of the first players to make Hellions against Protoss. Long ago in Wings of Liberty. And eventually that ended up being a thing that all other players in Korea and everywhere else would end up doing. But Drunkenboi was always the one that I credited as doing it first. As he was the first one that I saw doing it like almost 6-7 months before I saw anyone else do it. But for now, standard looking game. Reaper looking to get a little bit of damage done. I talked about how Drunkenboi also has been one of those players that kind of retires for months at a time, and he did come back to StarCraft maybe about a month and a half to 2 months ago, so he's been back for a little bit. He's more than in form these days. And the kind of cool thing is that Drunkenboi is one of those players that is very, very honest with himself about whether or not he's enjoying StarCraft. If he doesn't enjoy StarCraft, if he feels like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it right now. Ooh, this is the Reaper. A little bit painful, especially since Zerg and Speed hasn't finished up, but it was going to finish up pretty soon, so. I would say the kind of more bigger annoyance is that he didn't get he got a good scout in the main base at one point, but it's nice to have the continued scouting to see if they're still mining gas, even after Link Speed starts up. Okay, but yeah, Drunkenboi definitely coming back a little bit into the StarCraft scene, and really only plays when he feels like he's enjoying the game. This is a very, very honest person, and he's also very laid back because of it. He could be playing in like some big tournament for $10,000 or something, you know, qualifying for a WCS event. He'll just be the most chill guy. You'll think that he was just playing in some like random for fun show match for the CSL for like $5. But okay, Hellions starting to make their way in. Getting a scout on that third expansion. Graphix should be able to get it up. A-okay, no problem. And we're going to have the third CC drop. Raven also coming out. Raven, very, very common thing to see on this map especially. Abyssal Reef just has some really nice points over here. We can just sit with your Raven. Not over here, but on this side. You rally him. Yeah, he's just rallied straight over there with it. And you drop auto turrets over here, harass your opponent's mineral line. Now, the auto turrets really don't do nearly as much damage as they used to, so it's not quite as big of a concern. Hellion's going to knock down these rocks for his opponent. Not something you often see every day. The Hellion's getting killing blows on the rocks. But yeah, the auto turrets, they don't do as much damage as they used to, so they don't exactly two-shot workers anymore. They take 3 attacks to kill a worker. Gives your opponent a little bit more time to pull the workers without losing too many. But they last longer now, so it also denies more mining time. Bit of a trade-off, neither here nor there. Hellions, though, getting surrounded and actually forcing out the auto turret a little bit earlier on than Drunkenboi probably wanted to throw him down. But, oh my god, look at that micro! Doesn't lose a single one of these Hellions, and only the auto turret ends up falling down. And even the Raven with the auto turret gets 5 kills. This has been, besides that Reaper, a really great game for Drunkenboi. And killing all those Zergans may not seem like a huge deal, but it really does add up because Drunkenboi is going to have a third expansion now. So he's looking to get up an extra economy. He's looking to play toward the later stages of the game. As the game goes on, he's going to have a better and better spot than his opponent, who doesn't really have a way of pressuring him. The way that Zerg works is you are either making units to attack with, or you are making units that are investing into your economy and allow you to get further into the game later on. Auto turret gets a couple of kills. I think gets 1 or 2 worker kills over there. 2 worker kills. Denies some mining time as well. Doing some damage to the queens that could be softened up for later. And Drunkenboi finally establishes a 3rd expansion. In the meanwhile, also getting up all those barracks, finally finishing up Stim. This is where the game finally moves on from a little bits of harassment here and there to I have actual army. I push. I do damage to you. Ooh, Banshee in the main base. He is getting detected by the Overseer, but already up to 4 or 5 kills. 4 kills. Gonna join up with the Raven. Both of these guys can sit in the low health club. Try and do something a little bit later on. Even throwing down a scan somewhere. Looks like a cloak does eventually wear off. I'm not sure where he threw down the scan. I didn't quite see it on the minimap. Does look like the Banshee is probably going to retreat on home. The Overseer's just going to follow it all the way there. Love to see this Banshee repaired up. The kind of funny thing is the Raven doesn't necessarily need to be repaired. You do want to be careful with it. You don't want to just run into the Spore Crawler as it is going to die in just 1 attack. But if you are on point with the control, okay. Give me a heart attack there. Drunkenboi, calm down. There's also queens over here, but it forces your opponent to leave units over there to defend. Oh, but there are the mutas. We actually had a Spire finished up over here for Graphix, so that is where his tech has been going. That's why we don't see any roaches or anything. He did eventually get those guys up, and now the Raven cleaned up and the Banshee and gone all the way back home. Graphix can finally take that 4th expansion safely, not have to worry for a little bit. The first 2 medevacs are out on the map, so Drunkenboi can start dropping his opponent and being very annoying, but the mutas do really discourage that. It's not a hard pause or a hard no that you can't do some damage with the drops anymore, but it gets a lot harder. If you're caught out of position, the mutas catch you, and the lings are on the ground to surround. You just lose 2 medevacs for free, and you never want to be losing medevacs for free. Ooh, Hellbat's being made now. The armory was finished up, so those 4 Hellions have survived all this time throughout the game, now getting healed up by the medevacs. Mita's looking for an opportunity, even forcing out a Stim. That's nice. Wear away at some of that medevac energy, even if they've got a lot now. Never hurts to do a little bit for free. As the creep is going to start to get picked away at, the fact that these destructible rocks are still here does really delay Drunkenboi's ability to push in, and it's going to buy exactly enough time to get up a couple of extra banelings over here. This is going to make a world of difference in the defense for Graphix. Having, I think, 5 or even 6 extra banelings, he has more than enough, I think, to try and crush this force, especially with Baneling speed finished up. Gets some okay hits, not the greatest hits, but it cleans up all the Hellbats. Does some damage to the Widow Mines. Doesn't actually clean them up, though, but sets them off. Yeah, Drunkenboi just goes home. He's just like, yeah, man, that was good enough. I will be okay with an even trade and just back up, not push my luck, as you have a lot of banelings and some mutas over there. And he's going for the double drop at the north side of the map, so he's going to try and pick his opponent apart. Graphix is realizing this. I think just now he is pulling back for a moment, but no, he doesn't realize it. He is sending some links over into the main base now, but is this going to be a little bit too late? Banelings get some pretty beautiful connections off, to be entirely frank. Marine's going to try and re-unload, but the lings are coming up quick enough that they should be able to handle this. Not really taking any kind of economic damage. Queen also going to be able to whittle away at the medevac health eventually when it starts focus firing those guys down. Looks like Overlord or 2 getting picked off, but good defense. The mutos are going to be able to clean up the medevacs as well. That's 2 free medevacs. Really not taking too much damage over there. Graphix has done a really good job with the defenses just throughout this game. Drunkenboi had a really strong start, and I think that's one of the criticisms that sometimes people will levy at Drunkenboi. It's not necessarily that he has a bad late game. He actually has a pretty strong late game, but his early game is much stronger comparatively. I think when I think of Drunkenboi, I think of a guy who really hits his stride on 1 base and 2 base play. And 3 bases is where it starts to get a little bit iffier. You can still do okay, but as it goes on and on in the game, his play gets weaker. Okay, but Changeling's scouting out this army, seeing that he's moving across the map. He's getting in position. Gotta be careful. Where are those Widow Mines gonna set up? Looks like mostly on that ramp. That's gonna allow Graphix to take a decent engagement over here on creep. Killed off a majority of the bio, and there's still plenty of lings left to spare. Widow Mines getting picked off. This is a beautiful win for Graphix. At the same time, though, there is a drop inside the main base, a double drop, killing off the spawning pool. It's gonna halt any kind of Ling production for a little bit. Another spawning pool immediately started up over the natural expansion, but these Lings are not gonna be enough to deal with these Marines choked up over here. They do end up moving a little bit further back. Bailing's now coming on in. That's gonna be enough to push them back for now, but it only forces them to lift up and move over to another base. Could unload in the natural expansion? No. Seems like Graphix is on top of it. Muta's trying to get some counteracted damage done, but seems like both these players still have a fairly large number of workers, although there's nothing over here. There's like 4 Marines. Oh my god, Graphix, you could have taken that, but seems like he doesn't want to risk it. He doesn't know how many more Marines are behind this. He doesn't know if there's any more Widow Mines sitting around in that mineral line, being very, very annoying. So he's going to back up and play it safe. Drunkenboi has been able to establish that 4th expansion as a planetary fortress, has a missile turret or 3 over here to help defend against Muta counterattacks. I'm sure he'd love to get up a couple more over here. Yeah, there's 2 of them. That should be enough to handle them for a little bit, but this Muta flock is starting to grow a little bit out of control. Not so out of control, he can't handle them with 2 medevacs worth of Marines, unsupported by Lings, but with the Lings coming in, I think that Graphix is going to try and look to kill off those medevacs, but no, he sees the push in. He knows he has to prepare for this. Where are the Mutas, though? He could use them to try and deal with these Liberators, but is engaging off of creep and doesn't actually take the best engagement. Drunkenboi does a nice job moving further and further back. He's got a lot of Marauders, and at the same time, the double medevacs getting chased down. This is where all those Mutas are, but is this a mistake for Graphix? Does he need more units pushed over at the front lines to help defend? The medevacs get dealt with, but now his 4th expansion is going to be under attack. Marauders stemming themselves forward. This army is very low in health right now, though. It could go down to just a handful of good Baneling connections. Even the Lings with some good upgrades could end up taking out this army and does force a lift up. Graphix looked to be in a dangerous spot. Looked like he may have been overcommitting to the defense in the main base, but makes it work. Oh my god, these Widow Mines might end up doing some friendly fire damage. Oh god, getting a lot of those Mutas. Holy cow, how many Mutas just went down right there? I think at least 5 or 6 of them. Big investment. Graphix would just went from devastatingly large number of Mutas, and especially with 11 more Mutas on the way, that could have been game-ending number of Mutas, down to just threatening number of Mutas. This is a harassment flock of Mutas. 11 is going to bring it up to a threatening number of Mutas, but Drunkenboi is now going to have the time he needs to react and get up some more Liberators, get up some more Widow Mines, get up some more Marines, and ideally, eventually, just not die to them. Alright, Muta's looking around for an opportunity to get some more damage done. Got the Overseer with him to scout out for any more Widow Mines. But these Liberators, I mean, they don't do a massive amount of damage to the Mutas, but they just do enough. That splash damage adds up very, very quickly. Hive Tech on the way. Graphix is looking finally for that next level transition in the ZVT meta. But he is so far behind on upgrades now, since that Hive is so much later on compared to Drunkenboi, who's been sitting on 3-3 for a while now. Army has been stimmed to death so many times, the medevacs don't actually have that much energy to heal up. A lot of Marauders soaking up those Banelings. Drunkenboi not taking the worst engagement over here. Oh my god, especially if he's just engaging versus the Mutas with Marines. Just his army is still stimmed to death. I don't think he can continue to sustain this aggression. This is effectively like fighting without combat shields at the 15-minute mark. That is what this is the equivalent of. Actually, worse. Some of these Marines don't even have as much energy as you start off with when they pop out. They're like 9 health short. Bunch of the Widow Mines also end up falling. The Mutas now moving to the natural expansion, because guess what? Missile turrets are not enough to deal with this flock of Mutas. 25 of them. Is going to force Drunkenboi back. Now buys more time for Graphix back at home, establishing another expansion, getting up that Hive Tech. Is going to be able to get up a Ultralus Cavern if he wants to, as that's where I imagine he's going with this. And just continuing to do more and more damage. He's done such a great job buying time. He's still got to be careful. He doesn't actually have he doesn't have an Overseer with this army. So he is able to scout out for some of those Widow Mines, but 2 or 3 Widow Mine connections on this flock of Mutas could really just turn the way that this game has been going for him. Drunkenboi is trying to put on some counter pressure. But a lot of these Widow Mines are on cooldown, and he is losing all semblances of his economy. Orbital command over at the third, gonna be going down, killed off, not lifted off and saved. Fourth expansion, most likely gonna be the next target. The Thor is doing some pretty good damage. The Marines also killing off a lot of these mutas. Graphix is not exactly taking the best trades over here with these mutas as he retreats on home to defend. Looks like Drunkenboi looking for the interception, but not gonna be able to find it. Graphix darts away at the last second. He's gonna go just back to the natural expansion, get some damage done where he knows he's not gonna be able to get a lot of it done, but it is something. And forces Drunkenboi all the way back home, which again just buys that space. Graphix is okay with taking not ideal trades as long as he's able to keep that economic edge he has over his opponent. He's also eventually, I hope, gonna start up 3-0. Oh my god, the mutas! I mean, he needs to either consider making more mutas or getting up an Ultralisk Cavern. One of the two, or Infestors. He's got to do something with that Hive Tech or get up 3-3. Okay, there's 3-3. Finally, going to be taking advantage of that. I do really worry for Graphix because Drunkenboi, he's making a lot happen with a much harder to reproduce army, and his army is no longer stimmed to death. He no longer has no medevacs, but oh my god, their army is so clumped up. The Marauder's going to be soaking up a lot of the hits at the front, but Banelin's going off everywhere, and the Lings surround on the low ground. One Thor being microed to its heart's content, but its heart's content is only going to survive for a couple more seconds. Drunkenboi does push this army back. Is this going to be the beginnings of a miraculous comeback? Drunkenboi is up in army supply right now. Or not, well, not just army supply, up in total supply, 140 to 123. Is Drunkenboi making this work? I got really worried for him. He had 0 splits in that engagement, but he ran away with his army. And his Marauders all sat at the front and soaked up the Baneling hits. And I think the Marines actually managed to make it out, not entirely unscathed, but they managed to take an okay-ish trade, surprisingly enough. The reinforcements came in, and Drunkenboi is starting to turn this around. Only 11 mutas left out on the map. 1 Banshee. Oh my god. How long did that 1 Banshee survive? I want to know. Okay, no, that was the second Banshee. I thought that was the first Banshee that came out ages ago and got repaired back up, but... Lane counterattack. Drunkenboi's economy still not sitting great. He did end up losing that third expansion earlier. This is his main orbital command flooded over. This is a planetary fortress, so he's really just sitting on 2 orbital two orbital commands worth of mules. So his economy is not as great as a Terran player would normally be in this situation, but he is maxed out now, and he's going to try and hit this timing right before 3-3, right before Chitinous Plating, right before the Ultras pop. This is the only chance he's going to be able to get that's going to be this good for him. Preemptively splitting, a beautiful preemptive split to make up for that one from earlier. He's going to be able to shut down this base, shut down another base for the high ground. There is a Ling counterattack that does shut down one of Drunkenboi's own expansions, but here we go. Chitinous Plating, 3-3. They're all about to finish up. All those Ultras are about to pop. A couple of them engaging a little bit preemptively. Okay, this is not the whole army of Drunkenboi over here, but loses 1 Ultra already. Chitinous Plating is not quite finished up yet. The Ultras do have 3-3 though, but they're just getting ripped to shreds, especially by the Thors, also adding in quite a bit extra DPS. Widowmine going off, but not quite connecting on all the Banelings. The Banelings get some good connections off, killing off a majority of the Thors, but it's the Marauders and a handful of the Marines that survive all of these medevacs. 1 personal medic for every one of them. GG, well played gets called. Drunkenboi comes out victorious in a back and forth ZVT. What a sick game.